Welcome to AIRPLAY. We are back with experimental theater, lab theater. We're doing it raw right here. Here we are for part 3 of Magdala. Last month, Magdala was entertaining her 3 suitors. Miriam was there, and they were discussing a lot of cool things. And they were winding up the evening when suddenly... Carrie?
Well, thank you, gentlemen. This is such a lovely evening. Isn't it wonderful to break bread together? If only all the peoples of the world could sit in peace and repast, there would be no need for war or brutality. Sharing food together is so much more than a meal, for to feed another certainly feeds our own spirit as well. And the greater lesson seems to be that when we offer to others without expecting something in return, the bounty for us is endless.
Such eloquence. You remember well. I mean your words.
Yes, words of a prophet. This has been quite the evening, Magdala.
This night should never have to end. Seriously, my friend. Your fish was the finest.
Hey, thank you, Stratos, and thank you, my dear ladies. I agree it should never end. But I must be on my way. I rise with the tide.
Oh, Simon, do you happen to have another bed at your inn? Stratos will need to recover tonight and find his horse tomorrow.
Of course, my dear, anything for you. And anything to keep you from sleeping in her bed.
Oh, how I would love to. Yes, my lady, I cannot expect more from your generosity.
Yes. Magdala, my dear. Till we meet again, your wish is my command.
Thank you, Simon. Shall we go to your place together now?
Yes, thank you, Simon. Could you two see that Miriam gets home? She's not far from here.
Oh, yes, of course. Please to escort the beautiful lady.
Yes. Shall we go then?
Oh, thank you both. I will see you tomorrow, Magdala.
Amir, are you coming with us?
Yes, no, I'll be long. Magdala, I have things to discuss about the census. We were cut short, and I still have questions for her.
Oh, yes. I bet you do. Yes, well, I will see you later at my place.
Good night, my friends. Good night. Thank you for coming.
Simon, Stratos, and Miriam exit. Magdala sits next to Amir.
Both of those men are quite taken with you.
It would seem that way.
And I can see why.
Okay. Oh.
You know, before when we were speaking, it made me think. I don't want to sound so harsh. I don't know what makes me talk like that. There are 2 men in me. One is hard and cold and callous, and the other I do not know so well. He's kind and gentle. But when we met this afternoon, the gentle man came forth. It was like I could hear myself talking about that crucifixion, and I say to myself, Amir, why do you speak like this? You have never known suffering. Should you want it to come your way? Where is your compassion? Then you spoke as if you knew the man. Your eyes welled up with tears for him. It would be so nice to live like you, Magdala, and see and speak with one heart.
Amir is about to kiss Magdala when they hear the noise of an angry mob just outside the kitchen door. Magdala opens the door and shouts at them.
Stop! How dare you!
Magdala, wait. The officials are out there with them. Let me. You don't need any more trouble.
Magdala pulls away from Amir and takes on the angry mob. Blackout. Act 2. Scene 1. Place. a courtroom in Marseille.
We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of the woman called Magdalene, in the case of Dmitri Zakos versus Hera, servant girl to Magdala. She is charged with giving aid and comfort to one accused of witchcraft and extortion and preventing the injured party, one Dmitri Zakos, from carrying out a just and fair punishment. In doing so, this woman, Magdalene, as well as the servant girl, are hereby accused of the unlawful practice of witchcraft. Who speaks for the plaintiff?
It is I, Theo of Rhodes, your most respected honor.
And is it my understanding that the servant girl has fled the city?
As far as we can tell, your most dignified magistrate, it is our contention that the defendant has somehow managed to help her flee the country.
I see. And who here speaks for the accused?
I, Magdalene, shall speak on my own behalf. I need no one to speak for me against such a travesty.
So, you regard this court as a travesty?
That, Your Honor, is yet to be decided. However, what is a travesty is the charge that I am a witch because I intervened when a mob attempted to stone my servant girl to death.
If I may, your honor, Mr. Zakos and his cohorts determined that the servant girl in question had seduced and beguiled Mr. Zakos, casting a spell upon him and thereby forcing him into an assignation. This resulted in the servant girl becoming pregnant and subsequently attempting to extort large sums of money from my client. It is, as you know, the custom that any man who has been intentionally seduced and then held for ransom has every right to seek justice from such grievance. This woman, Magdala, stood in the way of my client's satisfaction.
Your Honor, if I may, Hera, my servant, was an innocent entrusted to my care. She was not, I can assure you, versed in the ways of the world, and expressly told me that this man who sits here forced himself upon her and then promised her all the benefits of marriage while all the while being wed to another.
Hearsay, your distinguished magistrate, simply hearsay. Furthermore, if the servant girl was entrusted in this woman's care and is accused of witchcraft, then this Magdala, by association and meddling, must also be a witch. We know very little of this woman's past, Your Honor, save to say that she showed up on these shores some 7 years ago with a substantial purse of her own, and has since purchased a home which is sealed to but few who are part of her black magic. Lately, she has been seen at the apothecary, purchasing herbs and other potions. I propose, your esteemed magistrate, that this woman is practiced in the black arts.
Healing arts, my dear sir. Your Honor, I am known as a healer and have furthered my reputation here with many esteemed citizens.
We are all familiar with your good works, Magdala. They have not escaped the eye of this court and will be taken into account. However, the charge of witchcraft is a serious one and not to be taken lightly.
Magdala rises, steps forward, and sings, "If I'm Possessed."
Magistrate, if you please, may I address the court?
State your name and some reason why this court should recognize you.
Your Honor, I am Emir of Damascus, and I am a representative of the Roman government.
Yes. I know who you are. Your reputation precedes you. By all means, Emir of Damascus, you may address the court.
Magistrate, I have heard from the plaintiff and the defendant. Both pose strong and convincing arguments, yet one thing, and only one thing matters here.
And what might that be, young man?
Roman law. You see, this collective rabble have no right to convict or put anyone to sword when a legal representative of the Roman government is present. As it happened, I was dining with Magdalena at Magdalena's home the evening these men attempted to stone the young woman. Had I not been there, they would have carried out an illegal execution. And should word of this reach Rome, these men would now be the ones with their heads on the chopping block.
So, what is your suggestion?
Quite simply, dismiss this case, and I will forego informing the proper authorities regarding this rabble and their attempt to circumvent Roman law. To do otherwise will, I assure you, bring the full weight of Roman justice upon all involved.
I am inclined to agree with the representative of Rome. We have a long-standing and peaceful agreement with Rome, and I do not wish to be the cause of arousing its rancor. Mr. Dimitrizakis, you will pay the court all charges for bringing forth this spurious case, and Magdalene, you are free to go with the understanding that your freedom rests solely upon a technicality, and should you be associated with any further charges of witchcraft, this court will not hesitate to call upon Rome for adjudication. Case dismissed.
Magdala turns to Emir as Miriam, Stratos, and Simon gather to congratulate her and thank Emir.
Pardon me, and I mean no disrespect, but you seem to carry a great deal of weight for a simple census taker. Have you had prior dealings with the magistrate?
No, but Rome, its legions and citizenry are respected and in some cases feared throughout the world. I assume he had prior knowledge of my work here in Marseille.
Well, Emir, I am in your debt. I do not think these men were prepared to listen to reason.
Fools! Nothing but fools! How could they think my dear angel could ever be?
Well, it's all over now, and so you're nothing to worry about. Perhaps now we can all get back to business.
There was no compassion in their eyes, no attempt to even understand, and were it not for Emir's argument, I fear what would have become of my dear sister.
I accept your debt, and will think hard on a way in which you can repay. Perhaps we can start by breaking bread together again. But this time, may it be just the two of us.
It's the least I can do.
Stratos, Simon, may you accompany Magdala and Miriam home? I have a small piece of business to take care of and will be there momentarily.
But of course, you never know if those men might be lurking and hoping for revenge after the verdict. I, Stratos, will guarantee their safety. Act 2, Scene 2, an alleyway near the court. A Roman legionnaire, Stantavius, waits as Emir approaches.
Emir, you puzzle me. We had that treasonous woman in our clutches, and you argue to let her go. Have you lost your mind? We have our orders. Find the woman, apprehend and bring her back to Rome for punishment. I think we should take her now.
Patience, my dear Stantavios. You would cast upon the ocean with a butterfly net, and if you're lucky, would catch but one fish. Yet, should you cast with a wide net, we stand to bring in a whole school of fish to take back to Rome.
You mean there are others as well who participated in this seditious act?
Yes, Stantavios. And think of the glory you will receive when we deliver all those who supported the dissident Yeshua. May it please Caesar, there may even be a land grant in it for you.
That is but too much to hope for. Still, I will be guided by your will. There is a reason Caesar gave this tremendous responsibility to you.
Listen, Stantavios. Do you know the old man's fish market just off the square?
The one where you have taken a room?
Yes. Well, meet me there tomorrow when the sun is at its peak in the sky, and I will lay out my plan as to how we will bring them to justice.
Legionnaire salutes and looks to make sure no one is watching, then exits the alley. Emir then sings, "What am I to do?" Act 2, Scene 3. On the square in the town.
Hello, Stratos. How fare you?
I never better.
Glad to hear. I thought you had left for your home.
I had intended, but certain business kept me on for a while longer.
Yes, well, business can sometimes cause us to change plans in a heartbeat, eh?
Indeed, but this business is of a personal nature, and in fact, my friend, it may involve you.
Me? How might that be?
Perhaps you can help me. You see, I am a bit confused.
Well, I can't say that surprises me. Perhaps from that fall you took outside of Magdala's.
I hardly think so. No. What confuses me is why two people who were both at Caesar's summer house last year in Capri should now find themselves here in Marseille, and if I may say, involved in a rather serious conversation.
I wish I could help you, but I have no idea what you are speaking of.
I think you do, Emir. It was you at Caesar's last summer, and that was confirmed yesterday when I saw another from the Praetori who also was there as well.
Be careful, Stratos. The tide is at the moment in your favor. You would do well to set your sail before it turns.
The tides, like calm seas, can turn quickly. So tell me, if you will, why would a Roman legionnaire salute a mere census taker, eh? Do you take Stratus for a fool? I was behind Simon's store yesterday and clearly heard you mention the name of Magdala and saw with my own two eyes a Roman legionnaire salute you. What kind of game are you playing, Emir?
I assure you, it is no game. You would do well to keep your mind on your own business.
Anything that involves my angel Madala, that dear woman, is of great concern to me. Tell me, Emir, why would a Roman legionnaire be interested in that sweet woman? What is your role in all of this? Huh? You must know. Stratus will find these answers. I have ears all across the Mediterranean.
Listen, Stratos. The name of Magdala is of great interest to the Roman government. She is a refugee and was at one time involved in some treasonous behavior against the state.
Ha! Magdala? My Magdala? This cannot be so. She is an angel sent from heaven. She saved my life. I swear to you, if anyone...
Be quiet, Stratos. No one is going to harm her, and she is not your Magdala. I, too, care deeply for her, and I will do whatever I must to protect her.
I am still confused, Emir. How are you involved in this? Clearly, you're not a census taker. Am I correct?
That is correct, my friend. I work gathering intelligence for Rome and was charged with finding and bringing Magdala to justice.
Justice? Justice for what?
Listen, Stratos, there is much you do not know. Do you recall that discussion about the Judean dissident who was executed?
Yes, and the dear woman had much sympathy for what they did to him.
Yes, well, she was deeply involved with him and his work, and it is said that without her, he would never have attained such popularity. After his execution, she, Miriam, and another wealthy disciple fled Judea and landed here where she's been living for the last several years.
I had no idea.
Yes, well, you must not breathe a word of this to anyone if we are to protect her.
Of course. Just say the word. Stratos will do anything to keep her safe.
Well, that's it for this week. And I have a special request this week. Since we have a minute or two before we need to part, if you have any questions, actors, audience, if anybody has any questions, send them to me from the audience. You can always see me on Facebook and send me private messages. But actors, I'd like to see if you guys have any questions about your characters or where the play is going. This is the third part already. So any thoughts?
Just one question, Connie. Just wondering, like, as you see us, like, doing this just for the audience, like the development and the process of the whole piece. So when you see us, like, how has it influenced the last couple of weeks, like the last couple of months, I should say, doing this? How has that influenced you feel, like, editing and looking back at the script or where the script is going?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Joe, you want to talk, you want to speak about this?
Yeah, I think, you imagine characters in your mind, and they take on a certain dimension, but then it can really expand the concept of who these characters are when you see them performing the script. So we start to see them as a human being, with certain tempo in time. We see them with certain tonality and nuance of the dialogue, and that allows us then to refine the character and make them more dimensional than we see them on the page.
And even today, we had a magic moment with Rachel saying, I don't trust that character, that census taker Amir. I don't trust him. So we know it's working, it's working. And when you put, that's the magic of theater, when for everybody, not just for the actors, I'm speaking to all of you watching, not watching, when these things happen, that's the magic of theater. When you breathe life into the characters with an actor, the script starts to come alive. And that's what we're doing here. Any other questions? Matt, thoughts?
I don't have any particular questions, but I'm curious to see where it does go.
Okay.
So are we.
I know, I was saying.
Magdala's
So does Simon ever get his moment with Magdala?
Well, we can't answer that because that would be giving too much away at this point.
I know.
But
He's
it's
hoping.
interesting.
He's
because-
hoping.
Ken, any thoughts?
No, I'm just going along for the ride.
Good. That's what it's all about. Jackie?
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing, how Mariam is going to be involved in all of this, with Magdala and with Rome.
Let's just say we hope she likes fish. Maybe, I don't know.
Fish is really central to this, and actually Simon does play a rather major part in this as we move forward, and it comes down to the idea of hubris, which was very an essential part of the Greek theater and of Middle Eastern theater. So what happens as we move forward does both involve fish and Simon's attitude towards arrogance, and that's all I'll say about that right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rachel,
all right,
any
all right.
questions?
Actually, I do have another one. During the courtroom scene, the defense rested on the fact that the guy would. Oh, I'm sorry. The offense rested on the fact that the guy was a man, and he had rights over women.
Right.
And these days that is such an off-putting thought. I'll put it that way. Is that going to come up again?
Well, I think it will come up in a different way. It does. We consider also the reflection of where we are in our society right now in terms of the the attempt by the courts to really narrow women's choice.
Yeah.
And so, part of what's happening here is we're drawing a link between the earliest times in the development of civilization to where we are now, and we're seeing that there really isn't that much of a difference, and that women's rights were in jeopardy then, and they still are, and it depends on the voice of the individual who is willing to stand up and to speak out for those rights, even if it means harm to the individual. And Mary Magdala was she really was, until the 3rd century, venerated by those who followed Christianity, and even in the Muslim world, she was regarded as a very strong and influential woman in the ministry of Jesus. So, throughout history, I think there have been those women who were willing to stand up and defend the rights of women and the downtrodden, and we do see Magdala as one of those characters.
One
Well,
quick comment.
I'm
Oh, sorry,
enjoying this.
Evan.
I'm enjoying this immensely, and of course, sharing it on other platforms. So
Yeah, you said, Rachel just said that we're global. So you want to tell us about that, Rach?
yeah, we're on Unity Radio, a radio station that goes globally, and also for a little bit we're on Unity Talk Radio, and of course YouTube, Facebook, and Spreaker, so that you'll find us on iTunes and everywhere else too. But it is a great story. I'm looking forward to see what happens next. But we are out of time. And Connie, you got one last thing to say before we have to hit the button?
Carrie, take it away.
Well, one quick thing. This was an amazing show, and we're just about out of time. So special thanks to our on-air players, Marina Chan, Matthew. I'm sorry, they were the other time, but Ken Coughlin, Jackie Youm, Joe Izen. I'm your co-host, Carrie Wesolowski, saying see you next time, the last Tuesday of the month, April 25th on AIRPLAY.
Bye.
Great job,
Bye.
everyone.
Wow.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.